Hello, friends, and welcome to my TBR to be read for February. It's actually going to be arranged around Artists and Geeks Black Lit Challenge for 2021, and I have a link in the description for that video, and I'm gonna put it somewhere, maybe here. No, maybe here. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to do that yet, so we'll figure it out. But what did I do? Okay, so basically it's Black History Month here in the USA, and every February. So I thought, why not get started with the challenge? I've got a list of books, but I can't guarantee I'll read them all because she said just try to get 4 points, and then she outlined a detailed system of like how to claim a point. But I got a lot of American authors, and I didn't mean to, but I was just going based on like what I could find in the books that were available to get on Libby, because I'm poor folk and that's where I get my books, is Libby. And my library isn't open for browsing, so I can't really go look at the physical books, but that's okay because I love audiobooks, and we'll be fine. So anyways, here's a list of the books that I have tentatively scheduled for the Blacklit Challenge 2021. First up is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. I picked this one because, well, the cover's pretty. And let's see, where is it? Where's the cover? Probably should have paused the video. Here we go. All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. And when I picked it, I didn't know it was a memoir manifesto type deal. I just knew that the cover was pretty, and I was like, ooh, flower crown. I love flower crowns. And it reminded me of that Moonlight quote, that in Moonlight the boys looked blue, black boys looked blue. And so it just reminded me of that movie, and I love that movie. So I was just thinking, why not pick this one up? So anyways, pretty cover, pretty book. And here's the blurb that I have for it by NPR. A first book by the prominent journalist and LGBTQIA+ activist shares personal essays that chronicle his childhood, adolescence, and college years as a Black queer youth, exploring subjects ranging from gender identity and toxic masculinity to structural marginalization and Black joy. So, sounds like a pretty good read. Okay, so next up is The Chiffon Trenches by Andre Leon Talley. And that one, let me see where it is. When will I remember to pause? Okay, here's the book cover for it. The Chiffon Trenches by Andre Leon Talley. So if you don't know much about fashion, he's a giant in the fashion industry, and plus he's a giant, period. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Super tall. But he's also gay, so I don't know if he identifies as queer. I don't want to use that on somebody that doesn't claim it, but so another LGBTQIA individual, and so I don't know like the runtime on it. I probably could check right now. I don't know. We'll see how far, which books I actually get through and which ones I won't, because I'm juggling schoolwork, work, and house chores because our dishwasher broke and we need a new one. We need to replace it. So I've been washing dishes by hand. But why am I holding up my dead phone? Okay. So this one looks really cool. And here's a blurb about that one from Wendy Goodman, design editor of New York. Andre Leon Talley's fantastic memoir, The Chiffon Trenches, is a riveting, enthralling, and heartbreaking read, tracing the incredible arc of his life from growing up in the Jim Crow South to what it took for him to come to New York, and thanks to his vast talent and work ethic, gain the respect and recognition of the legends of his day, including Diana Vreeland, Andy Warhol, Karl Lagerfeld, and Anna Wintour. Andre has lived life at the epicenter of the most glamorous worlds of fashion in both Paris and New York, and now this book is one more chapter in his amazing legacy. So, it sounds pretty great. And I don't think I've read a fashion memoir, so I'm excited. The only thing that's come close to a fashion memoir is the documentary that oh God, what's her name? Vanderbilt. That Vanderbilt lady. Well, you know, Anderson Cooper's mom. Yeah, Gloria Vanderbilt. That's who. I saw her documentary with Anderson Cooper, and that's pretty much the extent that I have for specifically fashion like type documentaries, memoirs type deals. So I mean it's not really, I don't really have a background in fashion, obviously. I dress like this. But um but I thought it was cool digging into something that was different from anything I've read before. And I do love memoirs. So next one is Lakewood by Megan Giddings. And this one is supposed to be, well, it's, let me show you here's the cover. And it's supposed to be like, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so it's got a lot of interesting, it's the NPR book of the year 2020. Electric Literature, one of the 55 books of women and non-binary writers of color to read in 2020. LitHub and the Millions, most anticipated books of 2020. Miss Magazine anticipated 2020 feminist books. Refinery 29, books by Black women. We're looking forward to reading. One of the Millions most anticipated reads of the 2020. Amazon Book of the Month pick. Audible Editor's pick. Essence pick. Glamour's must read. Miss Magazine's anticipated read of 2020. I think I already said that, but I'm just reading the blurb straight from Libby. Sorry. What hooked me on this one was that, yeah, here it is. A startling debut about class and race, Lakewood evokes a terrifying world of medical experimentation, part The Handmaid's Tale, part The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And I had started to watch The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, but I think my mom finished it without me and I never got around to going back and watching it myself. So I have a vague idea of the story of her life. I know that when she died, they kept cells of her tumor and it's like still producing cells, I guess. Like it just keeps going. And but the family never got compensated for it, and like they've done lots, they've made millions off of those cells. So it I really do have to go back and read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. But anyways, it just sounded interesting, like an interesting premise. Because I watched The Handmaid's Tale on TV. I know. I didn't actually read the book. But I remember reading a critique of The Handmaid's Tale saying that it was a very white washing, it was a very white feminist book in the sense that all those things that were happening to the women in the book have happened to women of color already. And this is just a what if it happened to white women. So, I'd rather read Lakewood than The Handmaid's Tale, since I already watched like 2 or 3 seasons of the show. I really don't feel a need to go back and read the book. But this one looks good. Terrifying, but good. So she's also American, so I don't get a point for that one. So far I've got 3 American authors: Megan Giddings, Andre Leon Talley, and what was that one? Oh, George M. Johnson. Yeah, so I need a book from somewhere outside of the country. So my other book was Zadie Smith's Swing Time. Now, so for this one, I've been wanting to read Zadie Smith for a while, but I remember the first time I picked her up, I wasn't into, for lack of a better word, I wasn't into literature type novels, like literary novels. Yeah, that's what I meant. I was more into sci-fi, and this was years ago. This was like probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was more into sci-fi. I was in the middle of reading like the Ex-Heroes books and the Expanse series by, well, whoever wrote the Expanse series, but because I know it's 2 guys writing under a pen name, but I always forget the pen name and I always forget their names. I just really love those books. Anyways, so I picked up Zadie Smith, and it was so jarring to read something mundane in the mundane world. I think I don't read a lot of literary fiction. I read like fantasy and sci-fi and the occasional memoir, but like memoirs are different because they've actually happened to people, and so that was my reasoning back then. But now I need to start picking up more literary books because I need to grow up. I need to grow up and maybe because I need to read widely if I want to write well, right? So that's one of the requirements, is that everybody says that you need to read widely to write well. So here goes. I'm dipping into literary fiction. And I've read other literary works since then, but I think I I don't know. I think I read romance. It's about as literary as I get. No. Yeah, no, I'm just really, I've been on a sci-fi fantasy kick since high school, and I never really grew out of it. Oops. Anyways, that's Zadie Smith's Swing Time is about an ambitious, exuberant new novel moving from northwest London to West Africa from the multi-award winning author of White Teeth and On Beauty. So, like, I don't even want to read the blurb because I'm afraid it's going to spoil it for me. I just know that she's a really good author, and so I'm excited to read her books. And I got both the audiobook and the ebook on Libby so that I can see which one I like better. Sometimes, I don't know what it is, sometimes I just don't vibe with the narrator of an audiobook. I feel like I could imagine a better voice in my head, or imagine it better in my head. Like sometimes, like I when it's a chore to read, like The Power of Habit, but I'm doing it because I need to. It's like eating your vegetables. You need to do it. But sometimes, but for fiction books, I like, it has to be a really dynamic narrator. So we'll see which one I like better. That'll be interesting. But anyways, Zadie Smith is British. And so yay, somebody from a different country. Next is oh, let me see. Next is Chike and the River by Chinua Achebe. Like, I don't know how to pronounce the names that I just said, so I'm sorry. Very sorry. I will try to look for an audiobook version of this. I don't know if it has an audiobook, but here's the cover. Very interesting cover. I love that. I love all those, like, it looks like a human head, right? But like all those symbols inside of it. It looks like a print I would wear. I would definitely wear that. Anyways, I read Things Fall Apart years ago. I think I may have been in high school or college when I read it. I definitely read it part of a class, but I I remember really loving the book and really being into it. So it's about time I went back to Chinua Achebe. I really don't know how to say his name. I need to look it up. Somebody on YouTube must have said it at some point. But properly anyways. Say it the proper way, because he's Nigerian. So I really wanted somebody from outside of Europe and the US. I wanted somebody that was black, that didn't have our sort of upbringing, like maybe, and I love that about his book, Things Fall Apart. It was in an African village. Can't remember the actual, was it Nigerian? Was it a Nigerian village? But like, that's all I remember. Like, I need to go back and read that one because I loved it a lot. But I was one of those kids that actually liked doing their class readings mostly. Sometimes the books really just were painful to read. But I remember really loving Things Fall Apart. So I'm excited to read Chika and the River. And I think that's it for my list of books. Let me see if I can. Oh, no, that's not it. This is the last book. Kabu Kabu by Nandi Okorafor. And this one is a collection of short stories. I'm pretty sure. Not sure. Pretty sure? I don't know. I picked it mainly because I liked her other books. And hold on. Wait a minute. Is she? Okay, I just had to go and double check to see if Nandi was the writer of Binti, but I was right. She's the writer of Binti. But I haven't read the other books in that series. I remember I read the first one and I was like really excited. Like, I loved how you could get, how, like, for a novella, usually to me, they usually feel like they're too short and they need more. But it was an exciting little appetizer of a world that I wanted to revisit. So I'm gonna go back and read her other books, but I didn't want to go back and just like reread something for this challenge. I wanted them all to be new books. So I picked her Kabu Kabu because I needed a short story collection and because I know she's a good writer and she's not gonna let me down. So maybe next time I do a Black Lip challenge, I should spread my wings a little bit and not read authors that I've already read. But um, I was, oh, sorry. Anyways, so those are the books that I have lined up for the Blacklit Challenge 2021. And thank you, Artisan Geek, for the idea and the challenge. And I will be checking back in with reviews at the end of the month, or maybe throughout the month. Who knows? It's not planned. We don't plan things here. At least not anymore.